Less a man than a boy, and more a man than a spider, and yet arguably more heroic than any other hero in all of the Marvel lineup. Today we're talking about the one, the only, the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And more specifically, what it is that makes him so good. Now, the TLDR answer to this question usually falls between the he's the most relatable superhero and the with great power comes great responsibility saying. Those are all fine, if not vague, ways of answering the question. After all, Peter Parker isn't a wandering martial artist or vengeance-fueled former Marine. He's not a 15,000-year-old god or a gold and adamantium-plated ultra-billionaire playboy philanthropist. So right out of the gate, he's more relatable than a huge swath of the Marvel and DC hero lineup. And yet I truly believe that what makes Spider-Man so great is something that transcends his everyman appeal, or at least encompasses it. Sure, we all love the mild-mannered, awkward nerd that is Peter Parker, and yet, do we really love mild-mannered, awkward nerds in general? I guess kinda? But I've got some bad memories and stretched underpants that would argue otherwise. So let's do a lightning recap and track down what it is that makes Spider-Man so good. Ordinary nerdy kid Peter Parker has a fateful encounter with a supercharged arachnid during a school field trip. He's bitten and bestowed with great, vaguely spider-themed superpowers. After trying to use these superpowers to help himself out a bit by making some extra cash on the side, and letting a criminal that he could have easily stopped escape, he is brought to a greater perspective by the death of his Uncle Ben, who was killed by the very same criminal he could have stopped before. After viciously hunting the man down in vengeance, Parker has an epiphany, and comes to truly understand and ultimately live by the last sentiment shared to him by his beloved Uncle Ben, that being, with great power comes great responsibility. It's a great backstory, but still not really super unique. Batman experiences something similar, though he's a bit less culpable. And while the hero in the Batsuit has his own rabid following and is arguably the hero who built the House of DC, his appeal and Spider-Man's are very different, even if it doesn't always seem that way. So what is it that makes Peter Parker so inspiring? Well, I think I figured it out, and it may seem obvious at first, but bear with me. The quality that truly sets Spider-Man apart from most other heroes is self-sacrifice. Now, I can hear you all saying already, but so good. All of the heroes in the Marvel and DC lineup practice self-sacrifice. Well, yes, but so good, even Thor does that. Every hero does that. Well, yeah, kinda, but so good, why don't you talk about how Peter is burdened by his superpowers, instead of being uplifted by them like most heroes? Okay, no. That is where I draw the line. See, Peter Parker is super strong, he's super fast, he can climb walls effortlessly, and he has motherfucking spider sense. Aside from some man-spider quirkiness later on, no part of that combination is inherently self-sacrificing or bad. And if you think it is, then you're missing the point. See, Spider-Man could be rich through a variety of different avenues. Through the use of his powers alone, he could be the world's best spy, or a super soldier who could rival the likes of Cap and Bucky themselves. And hell, of course, we've all heard about his long-lost wrestling career. On top of all that, he could be a super genius and create technology worth billions. But he doesn't. Do you know why? Because he's too busy saving our asses from the larger burdens of everyday life, plus the supervillains and insane natural disasters. Think about it. In the first Thor movie, the whole plot revolves around Thor being forced to lose most of his powers, and learning to be self-sacrificing for the good of others despite his own desires. That's basically the whole plot and the entire narrative arc for Thor in that movie. But basically every Spider-Man story includes aspects of this theme, even before the rest of the actual plot arrives. Spidey was given incredible powers, and from nearly day one, he dedicated his life to using them at nearly every opportunity he has to help others and not himself. And hey, many heroes do this, but many of those heroes are also billionaires, already in law enforcement, freaking gods with subjects and kingdoms, magical overlords who can conjure whatever they need, kings or otherwise leaders of their own countries, super scientists who are provided for by huge companies or the government, and outcasts from society who never even had a choice when it comes to living an ordinary life. And it's that last one which you should really focus on for this, because Peter has the option of a normal life like you or me. Hell, he could even live a better life through the self-serving use of his own powers and natural intellect. Yet he constantly sacrifices his own potential for a comfortable and carefree life to help people. Even people who hate him and would otherwise wish him dead or incarcerated. The guy has so little, less than most of us do. His parents are dead or vanished. His father figure was murdered and left for dead in the street. He lives in one of the most expensive cities on the planet with a job that barely allows him to make ends meet, with only a small handful of off and on again friends and relationships. And on top of that, most of the people who quote-unquote know Peter as a friend or family member either think he's a huge slacker because he's never on time anywhere, usually because he's out saving lives or fighting crime, or that he's too focused on being a hero to ever settle down and have a true family. And yet, despite how many few people exist to help him stand when he gets knocked down, he always gets back up. When he sees your kids about to get hit by a truck, he sacrifices his paycheck and potentially his job to rescue them. And when your life is in danger, he's willing to lose his girlfriend, be evicted, or lose the respect of a valued colleague, all so that you can still go home that night and hug your son, friend, daughter, or parents the next day. He doesn't just sacrifice to us the benefits that he could have from his own powers, he sacrifices his own life as Peter Parker. We've seen so many heroes willing to die in the line of duty to save lives. Spider-Man isn't only ready to die for you, he's ready to live his ordinary life as Peter Parker in a constant struggle for you. What little he has, he gives freely, offering no condition, demanding nothing, not even admiration, respect, or goodwill in return. Peter Parker, the Spider-Man, is not just so good because he's the best person in each of us, but because he's the best person we hope and pray will be out there in the world, ready to rescue us, ready to plant his feet firmly in the ground and demand that his will be done, even if doing so tears him to pieces. More than any idyllic super being, or dark anti-hero, or jacked up mutant, Spider-Man is a true hero, a title he doesn't even ask for, even while he constantly breaks every benchmark for self-sacrifice and selfless behavior. And what pulls all of it together? It's all his choice, and it is not an easy one. Again and again we see Spider-Man debating with himself, fighting with his better half to become someone who can look after themselves first and the world second. He struggles, he agonizes, he feels the emptiness of each aspect of his own personal life that he sacrifices to us to be a hero. And he suffers the loss of his personal life with the same pain that we would if we were in his shoes. And yet, when the cards are dealt, the choice is difficult. Who would you bet on over Spider-Man? To be the hero who selflessly and instantly throws himself between you and your troubles, regardless of what it may cost him. For other heroes, sacrifices on par with this are the pinnacle of their heroic representation. For Peter Parker, it's just another day of being your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And that is what makes Spider-Man so good. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video. A like and a subscription would mean the world to me, and I'm always really excited to read the comments, so don't be shy and leave your opinions down below. Spider-Man has always been my favorite superhero, and I was really excited to release this video for you guys. I want to give a special shout out to my big brother David for helping me write this script. And if you are interested, please be sure to check out some of my other content in the description box down below. And with that, I will leave you guys with the classic reminder to go out there and keep on loving good stuff.